Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to talk about mindfulness and how that's really completely flipped my life upside down. If you have been watching my videos, you'll know that I've struggled with anxiety, I've struggled with depression, I've struggled with a lot of mental, challenges, I would say. And introducing mindfulness into my life has kind of really given me insight into those issues that I had, and it's helped me to really see it through a different set of eyes, if I can put it that way. So I really kind of want to share this because I feel like it's huge. It's changed my life massively. So initially my understanding of mindfulness was it was very confusing. Like, people were throwing the word around a lot. I never really understood what it meant. And then I started to get into it and I started to kind of understand it more. So being mindful really means just being more present, being more aware of the space that you're in at the moment, right? So wherever you are watching this right now, if you place your awareness in that present moment, that means you are being mindful. And so this seems like a very simple concept, and it seems like we do this a lot, but for me it was like a brand new thing to me. We're brought up in a society where we constantly are being conditioned, right, about the next thing that we need to do. So in school, you need to study, you need to do certain activities, you need to pass the grade so you can move on to the next grade, and then you can move on to university, and then you can get your degree, and then you can get a job, and then, right? So we're constantly told what the next thing is to do, and we plan for it, and we think about it, and we mess up along the way, and then we think about how much we messed up. And so for me anyways, I got into a space of overthinking a lot, everything. I became a perfectionist, and I really cared about what people thought about me, and thank God that's changed, because that's no way to live, honestly. The amount of stress we give ourselves from thinking about everything. So thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about both, we never really give ourselves time to be present anymore. And if you are a present person and you practice mindfulness and you practice being aware and being present in the moment where you are continuously, and you don't get caught up in your thoughts, I commend you, because I think that's very difficult to do in our day and age. And so I kind of want to talk about that. So I was speaking about this the other day with Evan, and I realized that overthinking is really the cause of a lot of mental suffering. We put ourselves through a lot by overthinking. So I've noticed that I myself haven't really been present in my life. When I'm in a moment, I'm usually thinking, I'm usually in my head, and I'm thinking about something that I need to do, or I'm thinking about something that I could have done better in the past. And so I think that is definitely one of the biggest causes of my issues with mental illness, because I realized that thinking about the past is literally pointless, and we waste our time thinking about the past, ruminating on what we could have done differently, or I should have done that differently, I should have said this instead, I should have tried this instead, what was I thinking, I could have done it better. We drag ourselves down a lot mentally when we do that to ourselves, and it causes depression at the end of the day, because there's nothing you can do about the past. Whatever is done, right? And we need to let it go. But I think we don't really learn how to do this, and so we think about it and think about it and think about it in hopes that we'll do better next time. And I believe that there is definitely, some value in looking at your past actions and in looking at what you could have done better. And that's fine, because that's how we grow and that's how we learn, right? By looking at what we could have done differently and then do it differently next time. And that's fine, but I think a lot of the times we are conditioned to hate ourselves when we mess up. We are taught that we make mistakes and that it's not okay to make mistakes. It's not okay to mess up. and then we beat ourselves up and we feed ourselves a lot of negative emotions like guilt, like regret, you know, opportunities we didn't take, things we should have said, could have said, but didn't. Take the past, take whatever it is that you could have, should have, would have done differently, and accept that it's done. Just accept that whatever happened in your past, it's done. And you can learn from it, and you can take certain lessons from your past and then move on. Same thing with thinking about the future. I think that's where anxiety comes from, right? Because when you're thinking about the future, we believe that we can control it. We believe that we can control the future, and we can to a certain extent. I believe that we can plan for things, and we can, you know, have goals that we want to accomplish, and that's all good. But really, the problem comes in when you start to get obsessive and you start to try to control everything down to the very last detail, and you forget that life is uncertain and literally nothing is guaranteed. Tomorrow isn't even guaranteed, and so life is very, very, very uncertain, and anything can happen at any time. And I think when that uncertainty happens in life, that's what makes people anxious, because then you can't control it anymore. Like, look at 2020, look at the pandemic. Everyone had a huge surge of anxiety at the beginning of the year and throughout the year because of that uncertainty, because you don't know what's going to happen. And so again, you're not being present because you're thinking about something that could potentially happen, but you're not even sure that it's going to happen. We are not really sure of anything that will happen in the future, because anything can change at any time. Think about the plans that you had for 2020. Like, how did that go? Like, control is an illusion, and we try to control everything. We try to control the future, and we try to control the past, even though we have no control over either of those things. So again, the idea for mindfulness is to stay present and in the moment, because this is where you do have control. When you're doing a task that needs to be done, you only do it in that present moment. So it doesn't help that, you know, you're at work and then you're thinking about the things that need to be happening at home, or you're at home and then you're thinking about what's going to be happening at work the next day. Like, when do you ever have downtime? When do you ever relax if all you're ever doing is thinking about either the past or the future? And I think that is something that I can't explain it when I say it was insanely a wake-up call for me, because I have a massive tendency towards anxiety and towards trying to control things and towards trying to plan for things and having things be perfect. And it's so messed up that I'm 25 years old, and I only now realize that I have caused my own suffering for the majority of my life. I've caused my own anxiety, and I've caused my own depression in a lot of ways because of how I was thinking. The pattern of thinking really, your mind can get carried away, and it does, because your mind, you know, tries to make everything perfect and tries to control everything and tries to make things a certain way. Your mind is always finding problems. So even when you do try to relax, your mind will present you with something to worry about. Like, here, don't forget about this, worry about this as well. Stress, stress, stress. And it's like, when do we ever then just relax and just be? And I think the concept of being has been another major thing, you know, just being present, just being here, like looking at the trees, like just being where you are in that moment. And I think the idea behind overthinking is that, again, it's about control. We're trying to control the outcome of something. So we're trying to avoid things going wrong. We're trying to avoid pain. We're trying to avoid a lot of things. And so we try to control things. You know, I think the real task is taking each challenge as it comes. So it doesn't help if you're present and then you're thinking about the challenges that are coming your way, you know, in a week or a month or in a year's time. You know, I was always worried. In high school, I was worried that I wasn't going to get into university, and then I got in. And then in university, I was worried for every single test, every exam, every assignment. I was stressed and I was worried, and I always did well. So I think we stress and we worry and we try to control things, and it drives us crazy. And at the end of the day, all of that stress and all of that worry is so unnecessary, because it always turns out fine anyways. every test that I stressed for, every assignment that I stressed for, it always turned out fine. I always made it worse in my mind than it was in reality. And I think we do that a lot. We cause our own suffering. Again, you can cause your own suffering in terms of thinking about what you could have done differently, but that doesn't change the fact that you cannot go back and change what happened. And a major wake-up call, major wake-up call, to just accept that it is the way it is, and just accept that it's going to be fine, and trust that it will be fine. Because in the moment, if you stay present and you always give your best, then you will always be okay. Because then when you get to the challenge that you're so scared to deal with, you'll deal with it in that moment. You're not dealing with it now, so don't worry about it now. You're putting yourself through that suffering twice. So if you have to go give a speech and it's terrifying and you're so anxious about it, why are you sitting here right now worrying about something that's going to happen in a week or a month's time? You're putting yourself through it twice. Wait until you get there to feel whatever it is, because right here, right now, you're not giving a speech, right? So that's another major thing, just dealing with the challenge when you get there. Because there's no reason to put yourself through that stress now. Our challenges usually scare us more mentally than they do when we get there, right? So you'll be so scared of doing something. You'll be scared to talk to a girl. You'll be scared to give the speech. You'll be scared to do well in an exam. But then it's okay. It's never as bad as we hype it up to be in our minds. And I think every challenge, if we stop seeing them as challenges and we start seeing them as opportunities to grow, then again, that's just a mindset shift. And I mean, I can dive into that topic all on its own. I can dive into so many topics right now, but the basic, I suppose, message for this video is just to focus more on staying present and don't stress yourself out unnecessarily. Because usually in the moment when you are stressing, you realize that it's in your head that you're doing it to yourself. In the moment where you are right now, nothing is wrong. If you're laying in bed at night stressing, it's because you're in your mind. Just lay in bed. Just be there in bed and look at the roof. And nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong in that moment. And just let it be like that. Just let it be like that. When you're with someone having lunch, be there with that person. Don't sit and think about everything that you need to do later or everything that happened at work yesterday. Just let it go. Just let it be. So that's basically my message for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.